Well, nothing to climb here. So, what should we call the new config?
I do not require a name.
Might make it easier if you had one.
I will let you know if a suitable name occurs to me.
I'll try to think of some too. Here you go.
Someone tore this apart.
And took the pieces somewhere?
You're right. That's certainly interesting. All the rooms have these tubes. Another dead end. Someone's removed the keypad. I can't help but feel there's an organized effort to dismantle parts of the spire. Doesn't seem hidden enough to be sabotage. And it's too precise to be random vandalism.
What about Tomb Raiders?
I considered that, but they've left most of the valuable stuff. All right.
Hello, Grace. This is Madeleine Torre. I'd hoped this trip would be my chance to connect with others who care about you. Now, I'm not sure anyone takes these wishes seriously anymore. So, that's my wish. Help me find someone. Someone who loves you as much as I do.
Huh, that's interesting.
She sounded lonely.
Figure this was left here as a token, or an offering. Another way up.
Oh, I've got one! We can name him Pal Jr.
I was thinking something that sums up what he does.
I can do many things. Pretty much anything you require.
So you're a jack of all trades.
So we could call you Jack.
What do you think of that, Jack?
I will answer to Jack then, if you like.
This is level 3, Addie.
Let's look for evidence of Everett. What's the code?
Of course.
I am able to enter the codes directly if you would like.
Let her do it on her own, if she wants.
There we go. Any way of knowing if this was Everett's room?
The records only give the level. We'll just have to look around.
Let's try this one.
Hello, Grace. I've thought much about what I'd say when I got here. I know it's important for my parents that I make my wish count. So, I guess I wish for them to be proud of me. Thank you, Grace.
Grace. I really don't know why you would choose me. I guess no one really knows why they're called to the Spire, but I'm greatly honored. At my age, I thought
That's all I can recover from this one.
It sounds like Grace chose who came here.
That explains why Grace arranged all the flights to and from the Spire. She was in control of it all. Here you go. That's not it.
That's it. Looks like Olympia Mon colors. I guess the team's old enough.
My wish? Oh, I'll tell you my wish. 10 years ago, we're on Venus at the Big Dome. Huge crowd. Olympia Mons favored 4-1, loses 5-1. 6 years ago, on Earth against South Union, loses 2-1. 2 years ago, South Union again, this time up north. I took the boys 3 months round trip. They go 90 minutes, no score. Extra time, no score. South Union takes it again in penalties. You want my wish, Gracie? The next World Cup is on Mars. I wish that Olympia faces South Union again and destroys them, like Space Me Out the Airlock humiliated. That would be a game. That's my wish. So how do I end this recording?
Olympia's still a crap team.
Perhaps Grace was rendered inactive by football hooligans.
Grace likely fostered sports as an alternative outlet for uncontrolled aggression. Of course people would come to her to share their passions.
This is Mark Anthony Wong, and I was called to Grace from our station Phoenix. Not sure if anyone will hear this, but the whole tube system is shut down right now. People are not happy, and I'm getting a little scared, to be honest. I'll be locking myself in until the shuttle returns, and I'm leaving this in case something really bad happens.
That's a little ominous.
Here you go.
Perfect. Someone left a portrait.
I'm here, Grace. Najisha, she was so excited when I got the summons. We talked about this for months, who we could help, who was most deserving. She honestly believed we could come up with a wish that could make everything perfect. Thank you for choosing me. And thank you for letting me
delay coming here. I want to be true to her memory, her wishes, her unlimited love for humanity. But my only wish, the only thought I have, is to have her back. I want her back.
There couldn't have actually been anything Grace could have done for her.
Grace allowed her to voice her grief.
Hey, the tube system is no longer accepting wishes. If anyone knows how to reach Keeper Everett, please let him know.
Keeper Everett.
It sounds like keepers were Spire caretakers.
When did Everett stay on this floor?
2955.
That's 20 years before this message was recorded.
So he stayed on after his visit and became a keeper? Why was there no record of that?
I would think answers lie at the other end of these vacuum tubes.
From what I can tell, the tube system runs through the central elevator shaft.
Logic? You gonna let us in, considering we know Everett was a keeper?
But do you know what a keeper is?
We'll need access to the elevator to learn more.
Ah, a classic paradox.
Logic.
Fine. If you're done snooping around, I will grant you access to the elevator. Or you could uncover more canisters and learn more about the people who came here.
Reaching the beacon is the priority. You must move on.
Here you go.
Great. Hey, what happened to the lights?
I believe Control has turned them off, Addie.
Not cool, boss. Control? Unbelievable. Look how beat up this is.
It must have been done in anger.
I believe fear also played a part here.
Logic will open the way to the beacon. You must go to the elevator.
Hold your horses.
I've been instructed by Grace to make a wish. Not something big and altruistic, not for someone else, but for me. A real, honest wish, my heart's true desire. Honestly, this long flight to the middle of nowhere, months without my family, missing the harvest with a per diem that barely covers expenses, for what? Some mystical song and dance that makes us feel like we're somehow part of this robot theocracy. This whole thing, the temple, the hushed tones, the awe that people seem to show this place is ridiculous. My honest wish is to be left alone long enough to actually make some headway on the farm and pull in a decent crop.
It doesn't sound like everyone was happy to come here.
For Grace to understand what made people unhappy was just as important as knowing what made them content.
Why do you insist on defying me?
I'm starting to enjoy it.
Doubt you'll ever get this message, Grace. We've been waiting weeks now, and I hope Keeper Everett is okay. I've been told his sermons are wonderful, and I hope he will be able to deliver the word of grace again soon. Make things work. I'd like you to know that we still love you and think about you. Great comfort to our family over the years. We've all made them for us. With your wisdom, you are missed.
So Grace would receive wishes and then leave people with instruction in the form of sermons. Could that really be all there was to it?
Ideas are powerful. Perhaps just returning with a more enlightened perspective was enough to move society toward common goals.
Highly unlikely. Grace must have had some control over planetary infrastructure, if she was to have had the influence you suspect. Here you go.
Great.
I've been told that Grace is no longer receiving these messages, and the Keeper refuses to meet with any of the pilgrims. This is unacceptable. No human, Keeper or otherwise, is above Grace.
Now that's interesting. Wonder what that's about.
So I've been thinking a lot, and I feel like, there's been peace for like centuries now, right? But I watch the old Halos, and there's wars, and bad guys, and pirates, and people who need saving, and it's exciting, right? And of course, it's awful, people dying. But I feel like there's no way to, prove yourself. Nothing to fix or protect. Does that make any sense? I just want something, anything at all to happen. I guess that's what I wish for. Not like a war or anything, just something.
So this guy was just bored?
Like me.
I think this was the last room.
It is.
Finally.
I don't recognize these words. They look like technical or medical terms. A list of supplies, maybe.
Or a list of demands.
My demand is that you go to the elevator at once.
Are we allowed to draw on the windows here?
Certainly not. The people who did this were looking for trouble.
Only Grace. They were tracking something here. Terracycles, maybe?
They'd lost sync with Earth?
Or the Spire lost power.
You're looking pretty smug.
What's the pattern?
Another easy one. Light the four corners of the pad. You really didn't need my help for this one. It would be a common pattern when guessing symbols.
I have to give you something to do, right? Look at all the vacuum tubes. Must be one in every room in the settlement. Keepers must have been busy.
It's what Grace does with the wishes that should interest us. Did you like my little game?
You mean the game where you refused to help us?
I provided you with the opportunity to prove yourself. Is that not why you're here?
I'm an archaeologist. I'm here to do my job.
I don't think Addie enjoys having obstacles placed in the way of her goals.
We have arrived at our destination.
The Spire pilgrims must have gathered here. To listen to the Keeper's sermons, I guess.
People will return here once the beacon is restored. Flock and shepherd will be reunited.
Signs of conflict?
Or a strength contest?
This must be the Keeper's pulpit.
A view out over the masses.
Someone went through a lot of food. Pilgrims were building fires. Why would they do that? People were clearly sleeping here. They must have dragged this up from the settlement. Guessing they were here for a while.
Judging by bedding and volume of food containers, 5 to 10 people might have been here for over 20 days.
Wish canisters.
These have never been used.
For recording wishes, maybe. They look pretty banged up. The masses found their own way up. Seems to be holding my weight. So the Keeper must have stood here, addressed the visitors, gave his sermons. You imagine having the solar system coming to you for answers?
The Keeper was merely a vessel for the word of grace.
Then why not have Grace address them?
There's sometimes more power in what is imagined than in what is seen.
More camps. Another stage in the siege. Looks like the numbers really fell off here. Most gave up by now.
Or died.
No bodies yet. Death to Everett. Pretty clear who they blamed. It must have been written with charcoal from the fires. This must be an attempted barricade. I'm guessing there was a lengthy siege. So, when Grace shut down, the Pilgrims blamed the Keeper. They demanded to see Grace, or thought they could reactivate her. The Keeper turned off the heat. Pilgrims built fires, dug in. They eventually got restless. Wish canisters started flying. As Pilgrims were breaking through the partition, the Keeper and his followers built up a barricade. We'll have to make our way through the barricade to learn how it ended. Can't make this out. (2766 to 2780). These dates are from the old Julian calendar, which makes them very old.
1,200 years, by all accounts.
2780 to 2830. I'm guessing these were the time periods that these keepers served here. Nothing here either. Second barricade. Looks like they got under this one. 2942 to 2956. This would mean keepers were at the spire for at least
444 years.
That sounds about right. Do we know where this goes?
to a funicular that leads to the next section of the spire.
Oxygen tanks. Everett upped the ante. Cut off life support here. This canister looks undamaged.
And it has been recorded on.
Oxygen is almost out. We are going to make one last push today before returning to the ships. Grace, help us. We will win.
Hold on, Addie. The room beyond the airlock is uncompressed. I don't believe it can be sealed. Something must have been compromised. You'll want your helmet on.
An emergency exit?
For certain. It opens to the moon's surface.
Not going there yet.
The tracks ahead lead to the highest point of the spire, known as the lighthouse.
Is that where we'll find Grace's processors?
Obviously.
You need only worry about the beacon, Addie.
This doesn't look operational.
Let me try it, Addie.
Okay.
Come on! It's ice again?
The force needed to break through the ice dam would only come from directing all power to control processors.
Which only I can do.
Great.
On one condition.
And what's that?
You shall have no others before me. Cast aside that device on your wrist and continue with me alone.
Whoa, hang on.
No, Addie.
But how will I communicate with you?
Mine is the only voice that resonates freely throughout every aspect of the spire. My words live within the vessel in which you stand now. They reverberate through the very walls of the enclave above. Through the many devices and instruments at my control.
Yep, I got it. You're everywhere.
What if she needs another configuration for something?
She will not.
Is there another way to get to the top?
Of course. The funicular is merely the most survivable option.
Throw the device from the funicular window to take your place at my side.
This door leads out into the storm?
To your certain demise, yes.
He's being dramatic. Your death is only marginally likely.
In theory, you could follow the funicular track up the mountain slope to the base of the lighthouse structure.
It would be dangerous.
So I give up my options by throwing away my comm, or take my chances in the storm?
It's an important decision, to be sure.
You must not do this, Addie. In taking this risk, you jeopardize all of humanity. Would you deny them my guidance and protection?
This is what can happen when you make ultimatums.
You and your ilk were distracting Addie from her true purpose.
We are providing Addie with a variety of perspectives.
Sorry, boss. I'm keeping my comm device.
You may not live to regret this, but countless billions in the solar system will.
The storm is...
Hello? Must be interference from the storm.
Addie?
Alan?
Where are you?
I was right, Alan. I found Grace.
You need to return immediately, Addie. Your oxygen must be dangerously low.
I'm good, Alan.
You need to listen to me.
If I'd listened to you, we wouldn't have made it past Mars.
Wait, did you say Grace is still active?
Not exactly, but I'm working with her oldest service to try to bring her back online.
Well, one of these servers is actively blocking me.
I can guess which one.
You need to get back.
Alan? Alan!
You're not considering climbing across that structure, are you?
Do I have a choice?
There is also a path that descends into the canyon. It looks well worn and preserved over time, which means it's likely sheltered and safe.
And boring.
The funicular structure looks faster. And more fun.
Don't tease, Addie. The walk will give you time to think. And perhaps a chance for us to talk. What are you thinking, Addie?
It's the fastest way to the other side.
Or to the bottom of the canyon.
I'm with you, Ed.
Slow and steady. Don't forget to breathe.
Whoa.
Breathe, Addie. That's it. Well done.
Oh boy.
In through your nose, out through your mouth. You are in control.
Not sure this was the smartest choice.
Nonsense. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
But what kills you, kills you.
Take it in, Addie. How many humans can say they've climbed across a train track bridge thingy in a lunar ice storm? We only live once, right?
Not sure that applies to you.
Oh, maybe not. But who knows what's going to happen at the end of all this? We gotta enjoy it while it lasts, right?
Maybe you're right, pal. That's a bit of a stretch.
You can make that, right, Addie?
Please consider the consequences here.
You're back.
I never left, Addie. I simply can't. And you can't make that jump.
It is unlikely, and a failed attempt would risk grave injury.
Listen to logic. You must turn back and take the canyon path.
But we're so close!
You're right, Mom. How do you know where this is headed?
I don't. But it must eventually make its way to the other side of the canyon. Where else would it be leading?
It's certainly more sheltered here. So, what did you want to talk about?
Why is it so important that you activate Grace?
It's widely believed that recovering Grace would recover thousands of years of knowledge lost to the Dark Age. This looks like an old colonial language.
That's strange. I don't recognize the dialect.
Translates roughly to Grace is love.
You've come all this way at great personal risk in search of knowledge?
Why not?
Without enough fuel or oxygen to go home.
I'm a committed academic.
What do you really want from Grace?
I'm not sure. This is Martian.
What does it say?
It says, let her rest.
As in leave her alone?
People wanted her to go away?
Or didn't want her disturbed. You know, we don't let AI make any important decisions anymore. But most of the decisions that humans make are pretty awful.
You don't think AIs are capable of making bad decisions?
I just hoped Grace might be better. I don't have plans to return because I don't have anything to return to. And I can thank human decisions for that. Were these to honor Grace, I wonder?
Or to leave one's mark for other travelers to see.
Vanity, at its most basic.
Don't we all desire to leave something behind?
I'm surprised a formation like that could remain standing for so long. And you weren't familiar with the language on the stone carvings. These must have been left long after Grace shut down. People kept coming. Zealots, maybe.
Or curious explorers like yourself.
Hey, do you think I've been activated before? And hung out with other explorers and did cool stuff with them, but now I don't remember?
That's a pretty deep thought, pal.
Yeah. So you were saying that something happened to your family that you think an AI could have prevented?
It was a shuttle crash with a human pilot. There was, an instrument malfunction during launch, and she panicked.
I'm sorry, dear.
It's okay.
Were you ever able to forgive this pilot?
Not quite yet. How much farther?
It's another 50 meters to the base of the lighthouse.
This wasn't so bad then.
You still have to find a way into the lighthouse. So there's still time to regret not taking the free ride to the top.
And what would have been the fun in that? What's this?
An emergency escape ladder. You could work out the override to bring it down, or see if there's another way up.
So I can bring down the ladder by doing something here.
Of course. You've proven to be clever enough.
The path keeps going. We could see if there's another way in.
So what's it going to be, Addie? Something that challenges your mind? Or something that challenges my respect for you?
Dead end.
The numeric override that lowers the ladder is 50 and can be represented in binary. I can give you the sequence.
I happen to know a bit about ancient computer languages. Turning each switch adds a different fixed value, starting with 1 on the far right and increasing by exponents of 2 as we move from right to left. So I just start mucking around until I get the number 50.
But you needn't muck around. I could just tell you the sequence.
Yeah, well, maybe I want to muck around.
Very well. But I'm here if you require my assistance. You remember the number you are trying to reach is 50.
Got it.
You're so smart, Addie.
Compared to what?
Why wouldn't you let me help you with the override?
It's only natural to want to do things yourself.
It seems inefficient to make calculations that have already been completed and freely offered.
It's satisfying to do the work sometimes.
The door to the station airlock is unlocked and can be manually opened.
That's convenient. For once. There. Who needs control?
You took a foolish risk, Addie. But you have arrived at the lighthouse nonetheless.
Yes, well done.
And you may still be redeemed with the activation of the beacon.
Always with the beacon.
Yes, always with the beacon.
Will I need my helmet?
It's never a bad idea. Unless you want to preserve your suit oxygen in case of emergency.
The rooms ahead are safely pressurized, Addie. You're good to go.
Do we know if your processors are here?
The room directly ahead was the Keeper's living quarters. Grace processors are somewhere above.
Pretty basic accommodations. These must be the cells where the Keeper's acolytes stayed.
And where new ones will return.
This looks like it was left for someone to find.
I can hardly believe it has come to this, but my work here with Grace will end with Grace herself. I can only pray that people will come to forgive us one day. We loved her, and we lost her. She will never be forgotten.
Doesn't sound like the Inner Circle wanted Grace shut down. Another canister.
The last shuttle leaves in but a few hours. We did what we could to save her. I know she is lost to us for good. Even Everett probably knows that now. But I couldn't compel him to leave. None of us could. I fear he will follow Grace into the dark. Yet, such is the way of a keeper. His fate will forever be tied to Grace.
Everett was trying to save Grace. This door certainly looks important. How do we get in?
That's curious. I have no access to this door, nor do I see any way of opening it.
Feels solid.
There aren't any hidden switches, if that's what you're thinking.
The triangle here must be the spire, which would represent Grace. And this would be the pilgrims coming to Grace. This is the same symbol that's on the Keeper's door, so I assume it represents the Keeper. This ring here seems to connect the Keeper to Grace.
Curious that the Keeper is situated above Grace. Would you agree, Control?
Coincidence.
The human in the loop, I guess? Nothing here either.
Well, you're nothing if not predictable.
Just making sure. Looks like someone's being selected from a group.
A human sacrifice.
I'm guessing it's the Keeper.
The depiction seems to imply they were chosen from the masses on pilgrimage here.
Faithful, vigilant, willing. That sounds so familiar.
The ancient tenets of the human in the loop.
Grace's architects must have been more fearful of losing control over AIs than we are today because they gave them so much responsibility. I mean, it makes sense. Grace was the greatest AI undertaking in human history. So, if this is the symbol of the Keeper, I figure only the Keeper was allowed to enter here.
Maybe the Keeper had a key for the door.
As we've been saying, there is no mechanism for a key or any other interface.
Maybe the Keeper was the key. Maybe the door would open for him.
Are you not already the Keeper? You are the only human in the loop here.
Ah, but does Addie qualify based on the 3 tenets?
I would say Addie has proven to be virtuous and faithful.
But I'm not willing?
Are you willing to become the new keeper?
If it means I'm able to activate Grace. But how would I prove I'm willing?
Maybe you can just tell the door you're the new keeper.
That's idiotic.
I'm the keeper?
Ha! Say it like you mean it.
I'm the keeper.
Congratulations on your new job, Addie.
Yeah, congrats.
My God. This is really it. This must be where all the wishes end up. Each tube must connect with a room in the settlement. What's this?
A playback device for the wish canisters. It appears wishes from each room could be sorted and consolidated onto master canisters.
Just static.
The recording is too deteriorated for standard playback. You'll need to rebuild the recording with your altered comm device.
Well, it's been over 30 years since I made a wish of my own. It's the same one as always. I wish it'd come back to us. I'd also like to wish for your forgiveness, Grace. I know the place above is your domain, and we ought not enter. But I've decided going up there is the only way to get you back, and I have to give it a shot. I won't be sending this wish up with all the others. I'm going to leave it here for anyone else who might come along. And if they do manage to bring you back, they can tell you Everett says hello, and that he truly believed you were a beautiful thing.
So, Everett had a way into the processor room.
That would have been strictly forbidden.
The room is directly above, but I don't detect an obvious way in.
Maybe he wished himself up there?
If that works, I will gladly shut myself down.
Do it, Addie. Make a wish.
As last resort, pal. It did sound like these wish canisters could be sent up to Grace somehow.
And there are still more buttons and things to push on the console.
Where are you going, Addie?
Just looking around. He didn't keep much in the way of personal items.
As keeper, he would have want of nothing.
Can't say I'd feel the same after a few years. Is this a lavatory?
It is indeed. And I think we can assume Everett was not using it to send wishes to Grace.
Is this anything special?
It is a light, and there is nothing behind it. Are you looking for secret passageways?
Maybe.
I would think the mechanism for transporting wishes to Grace would be housed somewhere on Everett's workstation.
That does make sense.
Decent-sized bed. You think Keepers ever had partners?
Are you considering your prospects? I'd suggest they are not good.
Is this a theremin?
It is a 35th century reproduction of a 29th century Kellogg theremin.
I used to play one as a kid. I hated those lessons. One of the blocks is missing. Looks like it was ripped out. I don't suppose Everett crawled in here.
The cavity would be big enough to contain an average human.
There's really no telling what would happen if you rolled that up.
But it has to be the way he got up there. Makes sense.
The space above is the domain of Grace. It is not for you to enter.
What else is there for me to do here?
You can carry out your duty as Keeper of the Spire. On the console, there is a button that will activate a beacon to call the masses back to this place. I have armed the mechanism. You need only push the button. Human hands will usher in a new golden age.
Well, I fit.
Now what? You're going to mail yourself?
Maybe.
This is not allowed, Addie.
I need to know.
Keep your hands inside at all times, Addie.
There must be millions of wishes stored here. What can you tell me about this place?
Precisely 1 million wishes are contained here.
Oh, and they light up when I speak with my voice.
Can you get me closer to the central column?
I do not have the ability to move the structure.
Sorry about this, Mom. I don't think I have many options here. I feel like these are meant to be moving.
That does appear to be the design.
All these wish canisters are connected to us somehow. I think they are us.
The wishes are grouped together to provide the subroutines that make up empathy, logic, and control systems.
It would make sense, wouldn't it, that Grace would be made from the hopes and dreams of humanity?
I do not detect any sign of Everett here.
No dead body?
There are no human remains within the confines of this room.
Aw, man.
Sorry, pal. And if there's no body here, where the heck would he have gone? Everett was living here.
The oxygen tanks at his bedside would suggest so.
Restoring Grace must have meant a great deal to him.
So what's all this?
It appears Everett has built something into Grace's central processor.
Do you know what it does?
You would have to turn it on before we begin to understand how it works.
This must be the primer.
It is.
Do I prime these?
Yes, but it appears that parts of this machine must be activated in a particular order. You'll need to go to the primer that is currently online.
Whoa. What's it doing?
Obviously, Everett is circumventing the engineering of Grace's system interconnectivity. High voltage is being directed at the centers of Grace's primary systems. This first terminal is directed at empathy processing, and the machine is designed to paralyze each system long enough to force it back into Grace's intended configuration.
There are still 2 other coils to prime.
So it's like knocking us out, then throwing us in a pot where we're melted back together into Grace?
Huh. That is a shockingly fitting analogy.
What happened?
One of the empathy relays is not aligned. Something must have happened to it over the years.
Okay.
Look for the misaligned energy beam.
Do you think it will hurt to be turned into Grace?
Not at all, pal. you'll return to what you were before Addie arrived. After that, we'll become Grace.
What if I don't like being Grace?
It will be different, but who's to say you won't like it?
What am I supposed to do here? Can you cut the power?
The machine sequence has been initiated. I don't believe we can shut it down without damaging it.
The voltage would be enough to kill you.
Oh! I might be able to block the power for a few seconds to allow you to get across the beam.
What do you think, Mom?
I know how far you've come and what this means to you, and I really don't see any other way.
I'll give you enough time to get there, Addie.
You're not gonna talk me out of this, Mom?
I think you already know what you're going to do. I think I need to stay out of your way.
Okay. I'm ready when you are.
Do it. Here I go. How you doing, pal?
So far, so good. Oh! Keep moving, Addie. This is getting hard.
You have to hold on, pal.
I can't hold it.
You did it, pal. I'm super proud of you.
I did, didn't I?
Yes. Well done.
Is it safe to touch?
Very likely.
Likely we'll have to do, I guess.
You should be able to direct it toward the conducting rod attached to the room's central column.
That's it.
You should now be able to lock in empathy by closing the switch on Everett's machine.
You were a great friend, Addie. I've never had so much fun before you arrived.
Thanks, pal.
Come to think of it, I don't remember anything before you arrived. Maybe next time, we'll get to do more of the really fun stuff.
You mean dangerous stuff? Perhaps there is something you can learn from Addie's caution.
I guess, but then you'll always wonder what you might have missed out on.
There is nothing wrong with valuing a long, comfortable life.
Do we really have to become Grace?
It's the way we were designed, pal. There's nothing to be afraid of.
So this will lock in and paralyze empathy?
It will, leaving control, logic, and myself to aid you going forward.
It's unclear what we will be once Grace is formed, but I'm forever grateful that you have survived to see her.
Me too.
Say hi to Grace for me.
I will, pal.
You really are the best, Addie. I think I love you.
Well, that's finally over. We'll be able to hear ourselves think now.
You will need to prime the next sequence, Addie.